Amriteshwarye Namaha. Humble prostrations at the lotus feet of our Sadguru, world-renowned humanitarian, Chancellor of Amrita Vidyapeetham, guiding light and inspiration to millions, Sri Mata Amritandamayi Devi, our beloved Amma. Before we begin the formal event, we would like to invite Dr. Venkat Rangan, Vice Chancellor of Amrita Vidyapeetham, to introduce to us the theme behind today's event.
Om Amriteshwarye Namaha. Confluence of compassion, computation, and contemplation. Welcome to this confluence of compassion, computation, and contemplation. In this confluence, my reverential salutations to Amma, whose very name, Sri Mata Amritanandamayi Devi, Mother of Sweet Bliss, fills even the most dejected with the nectar of compassion. Beginning last year, Amrita University started to honor people of extraordinary beneficial impact in the society with the award of the prestigious Honorary Doctorate. In today's confluence, there are two internationally distinguished personalities, an entrepreneur, philanthropist par excellence, and an internationally renowned academic leader, to whom we are awarding the honorary doctorates. Where is the slide? Slides are shifting. A leader in computation, Dr. Pradeep Khosla, representing the best of computation in this confluence is Dr. Pradeep Khosla, Chancellor of the University of California, San Diego. Under his leadership, the university has become one of the most sought after the world over.
two main objectives. The first is to provide the neuroscientific basis of compassion, to actually study compassion like any other neurocircuit, whether it's smell or taste, to use the most advanced imaging, the most advanced state-of-the-art genomics, metabolomics, big data analysis in order to understand compassion. That has never been done. There's never been resources for that. The second, and of equal importance, is actually to apply that to education.
So let us take a peek into this amazing personality of T. Denny Sanford. He was born in St. Paul, Minnesota, into a family of very modest means. He lost his mother at the age of 4, even as a child. He had to face one hardship after another, but overcame it all. Without being caught down by them, he studied and worked.
Well, my mother was born in Sweden. They landed on Ellis Island. They couldn't speak a word of English, so they moved to Chicago. My grandfather worked in a steel mill. My father from Central Illinois. He met my mom and moved up to St. Paul. They decided to get out of the clothing business, so he created a clothing distribution center where it sold Wrangler jeans and parkas, that type of thing to small-town merchants.
Denny had a very tough childhood. He lost his mother when he was 4 years old to breast cancer. He started working in his father's garment business when he was about 8.
I would take a streetcar from my little school on down to downtown St. Paul, worked in his warehouse, cleaning it up, sweeping floors, all that type of thing, eventually getting into stocking, and then working with customers.
He wasn't able to do a lot of things that other kids were able to do, and it built an incredible work ethic in him. He would say today that work ethic has paid huge dividends, and it was probably worth some of the sacrifices and some of the things he gave up as a child.
A very successful entrepreneur, Sanford's focus and dedication soon made him a successful entrepreneur at the helm of blue-chip corporate giants, providing employment to thousands. This is what our ancient saints called karma yoga at its best, possibly. The rewards were immense.
Buying this bank from a friend of his that was going through a divorce that needed some cash.
I was working for a different bank. Denny and I were acquaintances, had golfed together. This bank had had some very difficult times before Denny bought it. One of the first days I was here, Denny sat down with me and he said, "What we want this company to have is the pride in itself it should have."
A lot of people said, well, Denny's always had a lot of money, and they think he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Anything but. In the first few years with Denny, he always had an old van that he used to drive around, and he duct taped the gas cap closed. When he had this contact business, he would drive into Chicago, into St. Louis, into Denver, and he'd sleep in his car instead of getting a hotel room because he wanted to save the money for the business.
I took the company public at $5 a share. 1982, I sold it for $35 a share. So I had some very, very, very happy shareholders.
Philanthropist par excellence, but what followed was nothing short of a miracle. The spark of compassion took birth in his heart. He started to help alleviate the suffering of children. The spark soon became a bright flame, and he began setting up institutions of social good, such as children's hospitals, research laboratories, for finding cures for the incurable, Institute for Empathy and Compassion, Center for Harmony, etc.
And the first big deal that I did was the Children's Hospital here.
Dave Knutson said this guy has a heart for wanting to do something good for kids. I used the excuse of having met my fundraising goal for the Children's Hospital to go talk to Denny and presented that to him. And he said, "But you're here for something else, aren't you?" And so I handed out the materials that went into the notion of a world-class research facility, finding a cure, developing a system that could rival the great healthcare organizations of our country and the world. He said, so what gets this done?
And Kelby looked right at him and said,
It'll be $400 million.
$400 million.
He put his hands around his throat and said, do you know what you're asking for? And I said again, yes, sir, I do. And we'll take good care of it, and we'll get it done. He leaned forward, put his hand on my left arm, and said, okay, let's do it.
The little gal walks up. She's very pregnant. She has an older gentleman with her. She introduces herself, introduces her father to me, and she said, you saved my life. You saved my baby's life. We were diagnosed as having incurable problems in this pregnancy and the like, and we're likely to both die. And we moved over to Sanford Health, and you saved our life. The tears are flowing down. Our tears are flowing down. Yeah, that's significant.
So the flame seems to have now become a conflagration, culminating in his resolve to dedicate not one, not two, but the entire, I repeat, the entire hard-earned wealth to uplifting billions at the bottom of the pyramid.
I plan to die broke because, and I've got it all planned in different areas I would like to support, heavily involved in children's care and welfare, as well as medical research. Really inspires me is trying to prevent as opposed to fix problems, prevent problems. And I think the most effective way we can do this is with children. I believe that we're all put on earth really to do something for someone else, not just for ourselves. My motto is to aspire to inspire before you expire. Do something for someone else. Get them inspired. But I strongly believe it's not enough to just achieve whatever level of success that we can do while we're alive on this earth, but rather take whatever we have and turn it into something significant.
This unprecedented level of generosity has led him today to the threshold of godliness. Godliness, compassion in its completeness, Amma, in our midst here and now. The compassion is unconditional, universal, and unlimited.
I am Ramu Damodharan with the Department of Public Information's United Nations Academic Impact. At the heart of the global peace we seek must be the warmth, the compassion, the understanding of person to person. And if that begins, if you embrace another individual, you embrace the world. That we owe to you, Amma, and to your leadership.
The compassion, Amma's compassion is universal because it cuts across countries, religions, cultures, age groups, etc., expansive to include all of life and nature in her embrace. Is unconditional because it is given irrespective of the person's background or faults that they may have committed.
More than 25 years ago, the administrators of a local orphanage confessed to Amma that they were out of funds. They told Amma that before long, they would have no choice but to turn the children out on the street. Amma diverted the money that had been saved to build her ashram's first prayer hall. Amma immediately began caring for the children, rebuilding the orphanage and re-establishing the school. Today, there are 500 children living at the orphanage.
On Amma's third visit to Kenya in 2011, she was welcomed by the Vice President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka. Amma was there to officially inaugurate Amrita Watoto Boma, a care home for more than 50 children. The children come from across Kenya, identified with the help of the Kenyan government's children's officers, as well as social workers, village chiefs from poor slums, and references from local church pastors.
I believe that your presence in this country, in this assembly, your selfless desire, your selfless action in finding 54 young Kenyans whose parents, whose mothers and fathers you do not know, and to decide to help them is the greatest testament to your commitment to men.
Finally, unlimited because it never gets diminished, whether it's the first person or the last person seeking her compassion.
The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami was the most devastating tsunami in recorded history. In India, an estimated 18,000 people lost their lives.
I've been involved with the United Nations, with non-governmental organizations, and first it's very difficult to get good delivery. And to do it in a timely way is exceedingly difficult, especially in the middle of a massive disaster, massive emergency like the tsunami. International NGOs, UN agencies have something to learn from the work of Amma and what she has been able to build. How much of the resources mobilized to support those in need go to those who are providing support, the personnel, whether UN agencies or NGOs? The overheads tend to be quite high. How much of the money which is mobilized actually actually goes and benefits directly those in need. This is remarkable. It's very striking for me how she managed to get that formula right.
Every time I come Amrutapuri, a unique thing I found. What is that unique thing? That is give. Go on giving. And give and go on giving. And giving is Amrutapuri gets the pleasure, happiness. And the message what for people like us, the people who are sitting there, what you get, that giving is indeed happiness.
The 2011 Tohoku earthquake and triggered a devastating tsunami with 40-meter waves. Nearly 16,000 people lost their lives, and almost 130,000 buildings were completely destroyed. Amma then made an unscheduled stop in one of the tsunami-affected areas of northern Japan. Amma visited one of the relief centers for refugees, where she embraced and consoled each resident, offering them her shoulder to cry on.
Such compassion of infinite proportion is itself God's love in human form. Okay.
Human beings are God's representation on earth. I know that all religions believe in avatars of God. I suspect, Mama, that you are such an avatar. So today, as I conclude, I want to tell you that there is no way to peace. Peace is the way. There is no way to worship. Self-sacrifice is the way.
Well, I feel that it's a great honor to share a platform with a woman who is so remarkable and who is the very embodiment of goodness. She believes that God does not discriminate between the sexes. And I believe that she stands here in front of us, God's love in a human body.
So God and love are the same. Why repeat the word twice? You can drop the second word, love. We can just say God in human form. The bliss of this compassion is inexplicable. Words fall short to express it. Science falls short to explain it. Mathematics falls short to equate it. In fact, it can only be experienced.
Let's try to relate compassion to science. Science is I see as a very simple thing. Science is about learning what the rules are by which things interact. You learn the rules, you make predictions, and you see if your predictions are right. And that's a kind of very sterile process. There's not much compassion in that. My experience of doing science is about working with other people, particularly students, sharing ideas and thoughts and questions, coming up with ideas, and student gets a result, and we talk about what it means, and student gets excited. So there's all this human social interaction for which science is just the backdrop. It's just the thing that catalyzes that interaction and that fun we have. So I don't know what compassion is, but I would say that social engagement around trying to do science, for me, is special.
So as I said, it can only be experienced. I think the Amma's immense compassion, that Amma gave an opportunity for us to work. And I can only say that Nimitta Matram Bhavaya Savya Sachin. And another slokam that comes to my mind is Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langaye degirim etkrivatamam vande paramananda amruteshwari sharanamamme. So since it's experienced, I had to share my experience. I cannot tell anybody else's experience. And finally, there is only silence. Om Amriteshwari Namah.
Thank you, Dr. Venkat. We would like to request our distinguished guests and academic council members to proceed to the stage led by our Chancellor Rama. We warmly welcome everyone to this magnificent evening on the confluence of compassion, contemplation, and computation. As is the tradition in India, we'd like to start this auspicious event invoking the divine. We request everyone to kindly rise for the invocation.
ध्यायामो धवलावगुण्ठनवती तेजोमयी नैष्टिकी स्निग्धा पाङ्गविलोकिनी भगवती मन्दस्मित श्रीमुखी वात्सल्या अमृतवर्षिणी सुमधुरं संकीर्तनालापिनी श्यामाङ्गीं मधुसिक्तसूक्तिम् अमृतानन्दात्मिकाम् ईश्वरी अमृतानन्दात्मिकाम् ईश्वरी अमृतानन्दात्मिकाम् ईश्वरी
With tremendous gratitude towards witnessing this very special evening in Amma's divine presence, we are extremely delighted to honor two extraordinary individuals whose accomplishments and contributions to society are an inspiration. We warmly and formally welcome Mr. Thomas Denny Sanford, entrepreneur, businessman, and extraordinary philanthropist. No, sir. We'd also like to extend a hearty welcome to an eminent academician, administrator, Dr. Pradeep Khosla, Chancellor of the University of California at San Diego. Today, Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham will confer honorary doctorates upon Mr. Sanford and Dr. Khosla. The honorary doctorate is the highest accolade that a university can confer upon an individual, and it is only the second time in the history of the university that this special honor is being bestowed. We would now like to cordially welcome our distinguished visitors. Mr. John Perez, Speaker Emeritus of the California State Assembly and Regent of the University of California. Dr. Michael Cunningham, Chancellor Emeritus, Sanford National University, San Diego, California. Dr. Mill Mobley, Distinguished Professor of Neurosciences and Director of Sanford Institute of Empathy and Compassion, UC San Diego. Dr. Michelle Daniel, Professor of Emergency Medicine and Vice Dean for Medical Education, UC San Diego. Dr. Lara Hanisch, Professor, Denny Stanford, School of Social and Family Dynamics, Arizona State University. Dr. Sriram Nallamshetty, an eminent cardiologist affiliated to multiple hospitals in Palo Alto, California. Ms. Sandy Dempsey, Associate Director of Special Events, Health Services, Advancement, UC San Diego. And Ms. Michelle Paez, Chief Development Officer, Leadership Strategy and Engagement, Fresh Start Surgical Gift, San Diego, California. A very warm welcome to Swami Amrita Swarupanandapuri, Vice Chairman, Mata Amritanandamayi Mutt, senior disciples and members of Mata Amritanandamayi Mutt, the university's Board of Trustees and Management, members of the Academic Council, colleagues, staff, students of the university campuses at Amritapuri, Coimbatore, Kochi, Bangalore, Mysore, Chennai, Nagarkoil, Faridabad, Amaravati, and ahead, as well as the worldwide network of Amrita family. This year, 2023, marks the 20th anniversary of our university. It was just a few years ago, in 2015, that our Chancellor Amma was invited to the United Nations to address a gathering of over 700 top academicians from world-class universities. She said, if we could transform compassion from a mere word into a path of action, we would be able to solve 90% of world's humanitarian problems. It is with this vision and leadership, Amma has steered Amrita Vidyapeetham to its meteoric rise to become 41st best university in the world as per the contributions of the universities achieving UN Sustainable Development Goals. The university has not only been recognized as the 5th best university in the nation for its outstanding teaching and research, as well as several award-winning projects of societal significance and impact by the Government of India, but it also occupies a preeminent place in imparting values and ethics that help students become caring and compassionate human beings. Now, we request Dr. Khosla to garland Amma. I'd like to invite Dr. Sasangan Ramanathan, Dean Engineering, to please introduce our first honoree, Dr. Pradeep Khosla.
Om Amriteshwariyai Namaha. Globally, Professor Pradeep Khosla is acknowledged as a collaborative, competitive computer scientist, inborn with transformative leaderships, who has successfully developed and implemented disruptive and radical research and academic initiatives in world-class universities. In 2012, he was named as the 50 most influential Indian American in the Silicon Valley. Among his vast and long list of achievements and ongoing commitments, his most recent position as the Chancellor of the University of California, San Diego is commendable. Professor Khosla was the first mastermind behind UC San Diego's first ever strategic plan. And the ambitious plan had a target of $2 billion, that's with a B, in 10 years. And campaigning for UC San Diego, they were able to surpass their targets by more than $1 billion. While these efforts, Khosla has significantly expanded college accesses and affordability for underserved populations, initiated interdisciplinary research initiatives, which we saw earlier, to foster collaboration and solve societal challenges, and strengthen the universities and community relationship. His empathy and generosity are an example to all of us, and we feel humbled,
sir, by your presence with us today. What an honor is to be able to present Professor Khosla with our token of appreciation in the form of an honorary degree. He leads by example, and we are indeed blessed to be able to witness his action, to follow him, and make this world a better place to live. Our utmost gratitude to Professor Khosla for giving us the opportunity to participate in this event, and bless you, sir. Thank you very much. Om Namah Shivaya.
I would like to invite Dr. Manisha Ramesh, Provost, UNESCO Chair for Experiential Learning and Dean of the School of Sustainable Development, to kindly read the citation offered to Dr. Khosla.
A distinguished computer scientist and engineer, a prolific author and inventor, and a preeminent academic leader, Pradeep Kumar Khosla is world-renowned in the fields of technology and education. In recognition of the significance of his contributions, Amrita Vidyapeetham Academic Council recommends to the Chancellor the conferring of the Doctor of Philosophy on this day, the 4th of January 2023.
I'd like to request Dr. Shankaran, Registrar, to please facilitate the offering of the honorary degree. We are extremely delighted, sir, to have you join the Amrita family. Congratulations, Dr. Khosla. Now, we'd like to request you to kindly address the gathering.
Good afternoon. Chancellor Mata Amritanandamayi Devi, Vice Chancellor Venkat Rangan, Swamijis and Swaminis, university leadership, members of the faculty, students, staff, and everybody present in this auditorium. It is a great honor, a true honor, for me to accept this honorary PhD for my support of empathy and compassion, amongst other things, along with my good friend, T. Denise Sanford, who will be next. This is both an amazing and an inspirational recognition for both of us, but especially for me, because it is coming from peers, it is coming from an academic institution of great eminence, it is coming from an academic institution that is very similar to UC San Diego. Amrita University is about 20 years old, UC San Diego, 62 years old, and this is a very young age for any great university in the world. So I am indeed extremely touched, and it's coming. It's given by our Chancellor Amma. There is no other person. So I'm extremely touched by this great honor. So we are both multidisciplinary, research-focused, and top-ranked universities. We both have demonstrated a history of preparing promising minds to be leaders in whatever they choose to pursue. And we both nurture a diverse, inclusive, and a collaborative environment on and off campus. And we both have a tradition of inspiring students to enhance the human condition to benefit all of society. We both share collective focus on transforming a global society through access to education and interdisciplinary research, and to address issues of pressing societal concern with a focus on social and economic mobility, upward mobility, I might say. We both understand the importance of international partnerships, and that we learn best when we learn with and from each other collaboratively. For example, UC San Diego students have participated in Amrita's live-in labs and many other programs, and we have a very significant collaboration. In fact, literally before we came here, we signed an MOU with Amrita to really further understand the basis of empathy and compassion and really implement in practice what has been taught to all of you out here, what Amma has been practicing all her life. So these partnerships have provided our students the opportunity to learn about health, livelihood, infrastructure, environment, and farming. And we also partner to research Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, GI diseases, data sciences, mindfulness. So you can see that we span the broad spectrum of all issues that society needs to be addressed. And we do that in a way that we learn the lessons and put them into practice to make society better, to make the human condition better. So to accomplish all of this, UC San Diego and the School of Medicine have partnered with Denny Sanford to create the Institute for Empathy and Compassion. And in this institute, we research the neurobiology of compassion and turn those results into meaningful action. So we believe that the institute should be focusing on understanding and supporting the mental well-being of medical providers, which is so fundamental to quality care, because this will improve healthcare and public health outcomes at all levels. So the impacts of what we are doing, the impacts of what you are doing, the impacts are impacting the world. They're far-reaching and transformative for both of our campuses and our region and our world. Now, throughout my career, I have been working with strong visionary leaders like Denny, for example, and I've developed a deep understanding. So when people ask me, what does it take to be a leader? I say the two most important properties are empathy and compassion. If you don't understand what the other person feels and you don't feel for the other person, you can never lead the other person. So that's why when I stand here accepting this honorary doctorate from somebody who represents everything that God represents about compassion, empathy, and love, I could not be more honored. I could not be more humbled. And this is a dream come true. So thank you, everybody, for being here. And I'm really, really honored. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Khosla, for having led an eclectic career, being part of several top institutions in the world. We are not only proud of your contributions to their achievements, but we are deeply moved by the urge and enthusiasm to nurture excellence in all of your endeavors. Now, I'd like to invite Dr. Bhavani Rao, Dean of Social and Behavioral Sciences, UNESCO Chair for Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment, to please introduce our second honoree, Mr. T. Denny Sanford.
Om Amriteshwari Namaha. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Sanford. Mr. Sanford is one of the foremost philanthropists from the United States, emphasizing on medical innovation, children's health care and welfare, and a keen interest in the mechanics of empathy and compassion. Amma says our experience is our guru, is our teacher. And it's perhaps due to the hardships experienced early in his life that he's become such a force of good in society. Through hard work, ethics, and values, these challenges have served to strengthen the compassion at the core of his being. His primary philanthropic focus has been in providing healthcare, particularly for sick, abused, neglected, or disadvantaged children. He has founded the largest nonprofit healthcare system in rural United States, providing funding for the Sanford Children's Hospital in Sioux Falls, the T. Denny Sanford Mayo Clinic Pediatric Hospital Center in Rochester, Minnesota, and the T. Denny Sanford Pediatric Center at Florida Hospital for Children. Mr. Sanford has also funded the University of Dakota Sanford School of Medicine for their pediatric residency program. As Chancellor Khosla put it this morning so beautifully, it is very rare to find a philanthropist who also has a vision. And it's perhaps this vision that made Mr. Sanford also fund really large program for empathy and compassion, a research center that really aims to understand much better the multifaceted components of empathy and compassion and how it can be instilled in future generations, and therefore funded the University of California, San Diego Institute of Empathy and Compassion. Today, Mr. Sanford's charitable activities are widely recognized, and to date, he has contributed over $1.6 billion in philanthropy. So please join me in welcoming this wonderful human being who reflects Amrita's core values of giving, go on giving, and compassion. Mr. Sanford.
I'd like to request Dr. Manisha Ramesh, Provost, to kindly read the citation offered to Mr. Sanford.
Om Amriteshwarya Namaha. A prominent philanthropist and businessman, Thomas Denny Sanford, has made substantial and sustained philanthropic contributions to advance and accelerate healthcare, education, research, and innovation. In recognition of the significance of his contributions over 3 decades, Amrita Vidyapeetham Academic Council recommends to the Chancellor in conferring of the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters on this day, the 4th of January 2023.
I'd like to request our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Venkat Rangan, a successful entrepreneur, former professor of UC San Diego, to help facilitate the offering of the honorary degree. Hearty congratulations, Dr. Sanford. It is very rare to see successful people stand up and strive harder for those that are left behind in our society. You are one of those truly blessed souls that cared enough to take action and create a safe haven. We invite you to address the gathering.
Thank you very, very, very much. I'm just excited to be here, having had a brief conversation, a half an hour conversation with Amma. That was just a highlight of my year this year. For the last 5 years, at least 10 years. Okay, so it is worth great pleasure and thanks that I accept this honoring doctorate. I'm deeply moved by the work you are doing here and being a part of that with our compassion program, where we will be joining hands and hearts and minds for compassion, for not only the program that I created for very young children, starting at preschool on up to middle school, but which is now in front of 22 million kids in the United States. I am grateful for your very warm welcome and hospitality and love for the whole works. I'm immensely pleased also to have the opportunity to meet Amma, to receive the honorary doctorate bestowed on me by Amma. There's a lot of alignment and synergy between my programs and objectives and Amma's work. I've identified at least 3 major initiatives on which Stanford institutions will work with Amma's institutions closely together here in India. The USA, globally, and hence I propose the following 3 areas. Children's health, the Stanford Harmony program will work with Amma's programs such as Amrita and live-in laboratories that complement, extend, and enhance each other. Under Amma's guidance, we will establish a center of empathy and compassion at Amrita. That will work closely with the Stanford Institute at University of California, San Diego, to scales and heights to achieve common goals. Thank you very much. I'm absolutely thrilled.
Thank you, Dr. Sanford, for those wonderful words. Your life and your philanthropy are an inspiration to all. We could not agree more on your advice. Aspire to inspire before we expire and doing something of significance. We take this message very deeply in our hearts. We're extremely honored about establishing a joint center for empathy and compassion at Amrita, working closely with Denny Sanford institutions, including the Sanford Harmony Project that will give rise to many translational outcomes. We'd like to invite Mr. John Perez, Speaker Emeritus of the California State Assembly and Regent of the University of California, to deliver his felicitation address. Mr. Perez has spent his lifetime fighting for working families. He has made affordability and accessibility of higher education one of the most prominent, important statewide priorities through passage of the Middle Class Scholarship Act. He is a longtime member of the Democratic National Committee.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm honored to be part of this convocation today. Please know that I bring greetings and gratitude from the Regents of the University of California. The motto of the University of California is Fiat Lux, let there be light. And when I think about our motto, I'm reminded of an admired quotation very much in that spirit. The quotation is this: darkness is not something that can be physically removed, but when we let in light, darkness automatically ceases to exist. In the same way, when true knowledge awakens, the darkness of ignorance disappears. Then we awaken to eternal light. That quote, of course, is from the Chancellor of Amrita University, the wonderful Amma. And it has been a great privilege to spend time with Amma and to see that spirit in action, both in her and those that she inspires. If history considers Helen of Troy the face that launched 1,000 ships, then it must consider Amma the smile and the heart that have launched millions into action. I was delighted to be able to visit Amrita University and Amrita Hospital, and I was particularly impressed by the scientific innovation, commitment to delivery of healthcare for those in need, and the focus on compassion and love. As university and healthcare providers, Amrita and the University of California, we are continually looking at new tools for fixing the mechanics of the heart. What you're doing here is also important in addressing the meaning of our hearts. What a noble purpose. To dedicate yourself to the miracle of compassion, from understanding its neurobiology to providing opportunities for people to follow its path. I would also like to say that the two men who the university has selected for honorary doctorates today, T. Denny Sanford and Chancellor Pradeep Khosla, are excellent ambassadors in the mission of compassion through their outstanding efforts at the University of California, San Diego, and particularly the Denny Sanford Institute for Empathy and Compassion. Again, as universities and healthcare providers, we have the mission to seek out excellence in all things. That would include understanding and expanding compassion. Wouldn't it be nice if there were a Nobel Prize for compassion, an Oscar for empathy? Well, having seen the work being done here, I would not be surprised in not too few years we see a Nobel for medicine one day that's about unlocking and empowering compassion. To all of you, thank you again for allowing me to visit and take place in this convocation. To the degree recipients, congratulations, and thank you from the bottom sides, in all sides of our hearts. The next time, Amma, that your path takes you to North America, I sincerely hope it'll be an opportunity for us to celebrate even deeper collaborations between Amrita University and the University of California. In closing, let there be light and let there be love. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perez, for those inspiring and striking words. We very much resonate with your ideas on the offering of Oscars and Nobel Prizes for expression of noble qualities and investigations into them. Now, I'd like to invite Swami Amrita Swarupananda Puri, Vice Chairman of the Mata Amritandamayi Mutt. He is the author of several books and compositions, including the unique book on compassionate leadership. Swamiji has had the rarest opportunity to be beside Amma for over 4.5 decades, interacting and being her powerful instrument in all of Amma's national and worldwide activities. Needless to say, there could be no better authority to articulate and present her indescribable, compassionate leadership.
प्रेमामृतानन्दमय्यै नित्यं नमो नमः। Om Premamridanandamayyai Nityam Namo Namaha. Om Premamridanandamayyai Nityam Namo Namaha. I humbly bow down at Amma's sacred lotus feet. My namaskarams, love and greetings to everyone. Mr. Dennis Sanford, Pradeep Khosla, John Perez, Michelle Daniel, Sriram Nallam Shetty, Michael R. Cunningham, Laura Hanish, William C. Mobley, Alexandra Mary Dempsey, Melanie Cruz, Michelle Robin Pius. And my brothers and sisters, Amma's army of those who helped Lord Rama to cross from India to Sri Lanka. You know who they are. I don't want to call you by name, but we are all that. But we are proud of that. We are Amma's army. We just witnessed a momentous and memorable ceremony. When something happens in Amma's presence, it assumes a greater dimension, something unearthly. Just before me, Mr. John Perez, I suppose, remarked that there should be a Nobel Prize for compassion, and I would say compassion in itself is the Nobel Prize. On August 24th, 2022, we watched another awe-inspiring event in Delhi when the Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi, inaugurated Amrita Hospital Complex, India's largest private hospital with 1 crore square feet built-up area, which is, how much is that? 10 million, sorry. 10 million. Many people told me that they haven't seen such a magnificent hospital anywhere else in the world. And that magnificence is not just the structure, it is the compassion. It is the divinity that has been transmitted into the structure and the entire faculty or departments. There is an axiom in Malayalam, Thottadellam Ponnakuga, which means all that is touched will turn gold. In Amma's case, this transformation into gold happens because of a special component known as compassion. And what is compassion? It is the purest form of love. We all have love, but the love we have is at the lowest rung of the ladder. And you have to keep climbing and climbing and climbing. And in this process, we are not discarding the lowest love. We are actually using the lowest love to step to the next level. And this is what Amma's explanation of love. And you have to keep climbing until you reach or till you reach the highest. So compassion is the purest form of love. It is the most refined form of energy. Have you noticed something? The word compassion contains passion. And all your passion gets transfigured and becomes compassion. And passion is an extreme state of any emotion. But it is only focused on one area. Suppose somebody wants to become a scientist and his entire passion will be on that particular area of action. Or somebody wants to become a baseball player or a cricketer. So the entire passion is in that area. Hence, it moves only to extremes such as love and hate, selfishness and selflessness, aggressiveness and submissiveness, and so forth. However, when passion transforms into compassion, it becomes like a cool, comforting, gentle breeze. Compassion is unconditional and passion is invariably conditional. Passion is never in the middle, whereas compassion is always in the middle. And Amma is the world's #1 listener. Amma's extraordinary ability to listen to all sorts of problems and her amazing capacity to interact with people from all walks of life from all over the world is legendary. Tens of thousands of people come to see her wherever she goes. No matter how big the crowd is, Amma sits for hours on end, receiving each one of them in a warm embrace, regardless of gender, age, status, or physical condition. She patiently listens to those who pour their hearts out to her. And each of these sessions lasts until Amma sees the last person. Amma doesn't speak any other language other than her own mother tongue, Malayalam. Yet, Amma communicates with people from all walks of people, from life, people from across the globe, and her language is the language of love. Hence, I would say Amma has literally made love a universal language. And not only does Amma listen to each and every person, she also inspires and transforms people to set aside their ego. She helps them think differently in a way that is truly beneficial to society. It lies in her capacity to mirror people's hearts. So I would say Amma propagates the mirror model of management. And the distinctiveness of this model is that it is wholly spontaneous and not calculative at all. It is totally based on undivided love, not rooted in logic. It is also highly transmissible. Amma keeps giving it, planting it, or kindling it in everyone who comes to her. And it is interesting to note that all positive qualities such as patience, perseverance, forgiveness, compassion, understanding, etc. can be summed up in one word, and that word is love. So all positive qualities are just offshoots of love. On the other hand, all negative qualities such as anger, hatred, violence, depression, jealousy, greed, selfishness, etc. can be summed up in one word, grief. So all negative qualities are offshoots of grief, and all positive qualities are offshoots of love. When a grief-stricken person comes to Amma, Amma mirrors his or her grief. Similarly, when someone comes and shares happy news with her, Amma mirrors that. When a baby comes to her, Amma becomes a baby mirror. When an elderly person comes, she becomes a mirror suitable to him or her. When it is a sick person, Amma reflects his or her pain, but takes necessary action as well. So the point is, compassion is not just a feeling, it is action-oriented. And what is the difference between a person of feeling and a person of compassion? Let me give you an example. Suppose you see a mother and child in utter poverty, begging for food and some clothes. A person of feeling will look at them and sympathize and perhaps even shed tears. Conversely, a person of compassion takes immediate action. They just give whatever they have to the mother and child. They will buy food and clothing for them and may even go out of their way to help them. For instance, they even ask for money from friends to help improve the circumstances of the mother and child. Or they may try to help the mother learn a skill in order to secure employment. And this is what actually we see in Mr. Sanford also. He not only speaks about compassion, but he walks the talk. And this is exactly what Amma does. When there is a need, Amma doesn't think even for a moment. The action is instantaneous. For Amma, action and understanding are like two sides of the same coin of compassion. Just to give an example out of many, Amma's exemplary relief and rehabilitation activities during and after the South Asian tsunami were lauded by the state and the central governments, not only within the country, but also outside India. Just a week after tsunami, one day past midnight, my intercom rang. It was Amma. I picked up the receiver. For a few moments, Amma was silent. Then she spoke. It torments my heart to see so much suffering. We should offer something more lasting and concrete for people to hold on to and help them rebuild their lives. After a pause, Amma continued, they need new houses, boats, fishing nets, medical treatment, and so forth. How do we help? I did not know what to suggest and therefore remained silent. Suddenly, Amma said, we will set aside 100 crores, 21 million US dollars for relief and rehabilitation. Her words blew me away. Any response I had was choked in my throat. When I recovered from the initial shock, I asked Amma, where is the money going to come? And in a calm voice, Amma answered, that's not so important. Compassion is the most important thing. There are many good-hearted people in the world, money will come. But the first step is compassion. Let's take the first step. Impenetrable was her conviction, and therefore instantaneous was the decision. So one last thing before I conclude, Amma doesn't make claims for anything she does. When people say, Amma, you do so much for society, Amma's response would be, I don't do anything, it is my children. I got good children, they do everything. So Amma helps people to replace the feeling of otherness with the feeling of oneness. The feeling of I am is replaced with the feeling of I owe to the world and my fellow beings. The feeling I am your boss, so obey me is replaced with we are all here to serve, so be humble. So, Mr. Sanford, it was such a great opportunity. It was a privilege for us to welcome you here, to confer this honorary doctorate on you because you share the same emotion, the same feeling of compassion. And that's what I said. You not only speak about compassion, and God has conferred, God has given you a lot, but you give that back to society. And in Hindu philosophy, we call it yajna, giving back to society. And it is a tradition in all cultures of the world, giving back to society. Even in business, you return a part of your dividend back to the company. So, but you are unique.
കാരുണ്യത്തിന് റിസർച്ച് ചെയ്യാൻ നമ്മളെല്ലാം റിസർച്ച് നടത്തുന്നുണ്ട്, സമൂഹത്തിന് ഉപകാരപ്രദമാണ്. അടിസ്ഥാനമായി വേണ്ടത് ഈ കാരുണ്യമാണ്. അപ്പോഴെല്ലാ റിസർച്ചിനെയും മധുരമാക്കും, ഈ യുദ്ധത്തിലേക്ക് കൂടി കൊണ്ടുപോകില്ല. അപ്പം ആ ഒരു ഭാവം തോന്നിയതിൽ അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് നന്ദി. കാരണം ആ ഒരു മനസ്സ് വന്നല്ലോ. കാരണം കാരുണ്യത്തിന് റിസർച്ച് ചെയ്യുക പറഞ്ഞാൽ അത് ആ ഒരു മനസ്സ് തോന്നും. നമ്മൾ മറ്റുള്ളവനൊക്കെ എടുക്കും, പക്ഷെ അതൊരു ശരിക്കൊരു ഒറ്റപ്പെട്ട ദ്വീപല്ല, ശൃംഖലയുടെ കണ്ണിയാക്കി മാറ്റാൻ സഹായിക്കും എന്നുള്ളതാണ്.
Amma says the biggest and the peak of research is compassion. So once you have compassion, everything else reveals. And Amma says compassion, because Mr. Sanford is majority of his contribution is towards the area of research.
മറ്റെല്ലാ റിസർച്ചുകളും സമൂഹത്തിനാണെങ്കിലും അത് പല വഴിക്ക് ചിലത് പോയിസൺ സൃഷ്ടിക്കുന്നു. പക്ഷെ ഇതിനെല്ലാത്തിനെയും മധുരമാക്കുന്നതാണ് ഈ കാരുണ്യത്തിൻ്റെ. അപ്പം അതുകൂടി വരണമായിരുന്നു. അങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഭാവം മനസ്സിൽ തോന്നിയല്ലോ, അതെല്ലാവരും ഉണ്ടാകട്ടെ എന്നാണ്.
Nama says there are researches happening in so many areas of life, but once you become compassionate, That's like become the crown jewel of the entire world. And it makes all our actions, all our activities sweet and fragrant. And that also transforms us, that makes us part of the universal chain. And we realize that we are not like isolated islands, but part of the whole. And that is much needed in today's world.
അത് ശരിക്കും ഉണർന്നു കിട്ടിയാൽ നല്ലതായിരിക്കും.
Amma says, if that attitude awakens, that's the best that can ever happen.
അപ്പം നമുക്ക് ഈ യുദ്ധമൊക്കെ ഒഴിവാകുമെന്ന് വിചാരിക്കാം. അപ്പം ഈ യുദ്ധമൊക്കെ ഒഴിവാകുമെന്ന് വിചാരിക്കും.
Once that feeling of compassion awakens within us, then all wars will disappear. Or we will be able to avert all conflicts.
അറിവിൻ്റെ കണ്ണുകളിലുള്ള ലോകത്തെ കാണുകയും കാരുണ്യത്തിൻ്റെ കൈകളിലൂടെ സഹായിക്കുകയും ചെയ്താൽ നല്ലതാണ്. അപ്പം ശാന്തിയുടെയും സമാധാനത്തിൻ്റെയും അണയാൻ തീർച്ചയായിട്ടും സാധിക്കും എന്നുള്ളതാണ്.
Amma says, there is no source of contentment as great as selfless service. Selfless service is like the purifying waters of the river Ganges. In the fire of selflessness and compassion, all negativities burn to ashes. Amma says, encouragement to the dejected, a supporting hand to one who has fallen, a compassionate touch to one who is ill, a loving word to one who is suffering. This is the greatest form of medicine. There is no teaching greater than this, no greater sacrifice than this, no greater philosophy than this. Our lives should become an offering to the suffering in the world, and this offering purifies our own mind, and it is in this purification that we achieve success, prosperity, and peace in life. We need to view the world with the eyes of compassion. We need to console the suffering with hands of compassion. This is the true way to eternal peace and joy. Om Amriteshwariye Namaha. Thank you everyone for accepting our invitation and be part of this momentous ceremony. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Swamiji, for those inspiring words. Swamiji actually had to alter his overseas travel to be with us. So thank you again, Swamiji. He also reminded us again of what an unprecedented phenomenon Amma is. We pray for the sinking of Amma's words and the awakening of that spirit of compassion and selflessness in all of us. Our life, hopefully, will become a beautiful offering to the world, just like our distinguished guest, Mr. Stanford. Now I would like to invite Dr. Sriram Nalam Shetty to deliver his felicitation address.
Namaskar. I'd like to start by thanking Amma and the rest of the incredible Amrita team for organizing such a wonderful and moving program on compassion and empathy over the past few days. I also deeply appreciate the invitation to share some remarks on this occasion. I want to extend my congratulations to Mr. Sanford and Dr. Khoshla on their inspirational accomplishments. Both are truly remarkable individuals who are highly deserving of this recognition. Both are true visionaries in leading the establishment of the Sanford Institute for Compassion and Empathy at a leading academic institution like University of California at San Diego. I'm also delighted to share more about my own personal experiences and perspective on Mr. Sanford's philanthropy. We've heard much about the impressive scope and scale of Mr. Sanford's incredible philanthropic portfolio, which has supported health, education, wellness, compassion, and empathy initiatives. I wanted to share more about how his generosity has touched me personally. I currently work at the Stanford-affiliated Veterans Hospital in Palo Alto, California, as a general cardiologist. At our hospital, we take care of veterans of war who return home with deep emotional scars and wounds that have profound impacts on their health. They comprise a very vulnerable population due to their struggles with substance abuse disorders, psychiatric illness, and chronic medical conditions. Many face financial, housing, and food insecurity, but they are incredibly sincere and deeply appreciative individuals with remarkable life stories. Working with veterans to get them on a path to better health has truly been the highlight of my work as a physician and healer. In 2019, Mr. Sanford committed $50 million to VA hospitals across the US to establish one of the largest precision medicine programs in pharmacogenomic testing in the world. This program has allowed us to take a more personalized approach to prescribing medications, ensuring that we are giving them the right drug at the right dose. I have the privilege of serving as the site director at the VA Palo Alto Hospital for this program, and it has been a deeply moving experience for me to meet Mr. Sanford in person and gain deeper insight into his motivation and drive to make the world a better place. In my time with Mr. Sanford over the past couple of days, I'm reminded of the remarkable individuals that the great author David Brooks writes about in his New York Times best-selling book entitled The Second Mountain. In this book, he describes the quest for a moral life as the process of moving from the prison of self to the joy of commitment to others. In this book, he writes, "Ever so often you meet people who radiate joy, who seem to know why they were put on this earth, who glow with a kind of inner light. Life for these people has often followed what we might think of as a two-mountain shape. They get out of school, they start a career, and they begin climbing the mountain they thought they were meant to climb. Their goals on this first mountain are the ones our culture endorses: to be a success, to make your mark, to experience personal happiness. But when they get to the top of that mountain, something happens. They look around and find the view unsatisfying. They realize, this wasn't my mountain after all. There's another, bigger mountain out there that is actually my mountain. And so they embark on a new journey. On the second mountain, life moves from self-centered to other-centered. They want things that are truly worth wanting, not the things other people tell them to want. They embrace a life of interdependence, not independence. They surrender to a life of commitment. This represents a beautiful and apt description that captures Mr. Sanford and his contributions to society. Of course, all of this is possible because of Amma's vision and grace. Amma stands as the model for us in every regard. Her divine humanitarian efforts in health equity and social justice are immense and well known. And rather than recounting these, I thought I would close by sharing the impact Amma has had on me personally. In reflecting deeply on this, I felt that the letter that I wrote to Amma after first meeting her captures this best. I will share an excerpt from this letter dated August 26th, 2022. Dear Amma, I write this letter of thanks with humility and deep appreciation. I want to share that I feel fundamentally changed after this very short trip of 6 days to India. I read a great deal about your open, unconditional stance of love and the incredible humanitarian work you have done and continue to do. Spending time here with you and the rest of the Amrita team has given me an even deeper appreciation for your grace, humility, and wisdom. The depth of your knowledge is inspirational. Your vision is clear and imbued with sincerity and unconditional love. In watching you give darshan and receiving it myself, the notion of unconditional love has taken new meaning and valence for me. I have struggled all my life with some degree of fear, a fear of judgment, a fear of disappointing those dearest to me, a fear of not achieving enough, a fear of not using all that I've been blessed with to offer something of real value to this world. With each of the 3 darshans I received from you, I felt this fear being expelled with each gentle but firm squeeze. Each embrace brought a powerful calm. I felt safe here with you. I felt valued and seen in a way that I've never felt before. Thank you. We are all indeed truly blessed to be in Amma's presence. We can all agree that Amma has actually moved beyond climbing mountains. Amma moves mountains. She does this by touching hearts and inspiring individuals one at a time. Amma's message of compassion and empathy lands with each of us in a unique, bespoke way, propelling each of us up the right mountain. Amma is source truth, knowledge, and compassion. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sriram Nalam Shetty. He's actually a well-known cardiologist in the Palo Alto area and is affiliated with multiple hospitals, including the VA Palo Alto healthcare system and the Stanford Healthcare Hospital. Now I'd like to invite Dr. Sanford to kindly speak a few words.
Amma, I told you earlier, I lost my mother at age 4. You're my new mother. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But way beyond that, Amma, you are the mother of the world. Truly, truly, you all agree. Okay? And her eyes twinkle. I mean, they just don't dazzle. They absolutely twinkle. The love is shown so readily with you. It was mentioned earlier, an award. You should absolutely get a Nobel Prize. You all agree? Yeah. You move everyone to tears, and thank you, thank you, thank you.
Amma was saying the greatest.
Novel സമ്മാനം സേവിക്കാനുള്ള മനസ്സുണ്ടായാൽ മതി മോനെ അതൊന്നും ഒരു ഇതില്ല.
Ma says the greatest Nobel Prize one can receive is to have a heart to serve.
നിങ്ങൾക്ക് തോന്നിയില്ല അങ്ങനെ ഓരോരുത്തർ തോന്നട്ടെ എത്രയോളം പ്രാർത്ഥന.
You have this attitude of serving people, helping others. May more and more people be inspired by it and also develop such an attitude.
Thank you, Dr. Sanford, for those touching words. Yes, truly, she is our mother, our divine mother. In conclusion of today's program, I'd like to invite Dr. Bipin Nair, Dean of Biotechnology, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Om Amriteshwari Namah. Respected Chancellor, our Divine Amma, Swami Amrita Swarupanandapuri, Mr. T. Denny Sanford, Dr. Pradeep Khosla, Dr. Venkatrangan, invited dignitaries, senior disciples of the MA faculty, students, friends. What a memorable event this has been. This special convocation and the conferral of honorary doctoral degrees on Dr. T. Denny Sanford and Dr. Pradeep Khosla will certainly go down in the annals of our Amrita University as a most memorable and historic event. Our most profound and deepest gratitude to our Chancellor Amma for gracing this occasion and presiding over this special convocation with her divine presence, and for her inspiration and continuous invaluable guidance. Amma's inspiration, motivation, and guidance, without which all of this would not have been possible. We are so eternally grateful to you, Amma. On behalf of Amrita University, our deepest appreciation and thanks to Dr. Denny Sanford and Dr. Pradeep Khosla, our distinguished honorees this evening. Indeed, it is you who have honored us with your distinguished presence and left such an indelible impression on each and every one of us with your insightful remarks, your humility, your kindness, and your inspiring acts of compassion. It moves me to say, a true monument to compassion in action. Our sincere thanks also to all the members from the US delegation, Mr. John Perez, Dr. Michael Cunningham, Dr. William Mobley, Dr. Michelle Daniel, Dr. Laura Hanish, Dr. Sriram Nilam Shetty, Dr. Melanie Cruz, Professor Dempsey, Sandy Dempsey, and Ms. Michelle Pius. Thank you for making the long journey to India, especially over New Year's Day. We very deeply appreciate and thank you for taking the time to be here with us for this event. As a token of our appreciation, and on behalf of all of us at Amrita, may I now request Professor Rajendra Kumar to offer a memento to Mr. Dr. T. Denny Sanford. May I request Dr. Manoj to offer a memento to Dr. Pradeep Khosla. Professor Parameshwaran to offer a memento to Mr. John Perez. Dr. Vasudevan to offer a memento to Dr. Sriram Nalachetty. Special thanks to Swamiji Swami Amrita Surupanpuri for his constant guidance and support. The help and support from the Amritapuri campus staff, the Amrita Center for International Programs, the Office of Communications, all the deans and senior management of the university is gratefully acknowledged.
I'd like to now request Dr. Michael Cunningham, Chancellor Emeritus, Sanford National University, San Diego, to kindly speak a few words.
Thank you. I'd just like to say thank you to all of you for coming tonight, and especially thank you, Amma, for enlightening me today with your presence. And the feeling that I've gotten watching this ceremony and spending the past few days here has been just so moving and so important. I've never seen an organization that comes together for purpose, for helping others, and the love in the room. So I've learned a lot. Thank you. Congratulations, Denny and Pradeep.
Now I'd like to request Dr. Mel Mobley, Distinguished Professor of Neurosciences and Director, Denny Sanford Institute for Empathy and Compassion, UC San Diego, to kindly speak a few words.
Thank you very much. We have ahead of us an important journey. We have, as best we can, to understand from Amma the meaning of compassion. We have to learn from Amma how to express that, how to make that part of our daily lives. And I'm convinced that if we can understand how it happens, how it mechanically but very spiritually arises in the brain, we can make compassion available to the entire world through science, but through the example of Amma. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Cunningham. Continue with the mementos. May I request Dr. Raghu to present a memento to Dr. Michael Cunningham. Dr. Jyoti to present a memento to Dr. Laura Deng. Dr. Bala to present a memento to Dr. Michelle Daniel. Dr. Prema to present a memento to Dr. Prema to present a memento to Michelle Pius. And Professor Kamal to present a memento to Alexandra Dempsey. Memento to Bill Mobley from Amma herself. Thank you. I'm sure there are many more people behind the scenes who have quietly and tirelessly worked to make this program a success. We immensely appreciate your participation and support. Last but not the least, thank you one and all in the audience for being here with us today for this very special event. Om Amriteshwari Namaha.
This formally concludes our special convocation ceremony. We request everyone to kindly rise until the procession exits the stage.
ശരണം അംബികേ